Hello and welcome to another Star Citizen podcast with me, BoredGamer, and the lovely Zinnia, who is also here. You may say hello, Zinnia.
Hello, Zinnia.
Perfect. I tried to trick you into not saying that, but I'm unable to.
I don't know what else to say.
That's okay. It's absolutely fine. People know that you're here. It's proof of life. And we're going to be talking about various Star Citizen related topics today. Some minor dramas that have been going on. There was a glut of minor dramas. We'll talk about them. And they've been mostly resolved now, or at least partly resolved, or, I don't know, resolved as much as they can. CitizenCon Rumors. I want to talk a bit about this, because there's some interesting things about Squadron 42, and I suppose Alpha 4.0 as well. Ship Showdown. We've got the top 4 ships. Well, top 4 in a bit, because the last bit of the Ship Showdown hasn't finished yet, but we'll talk about that in a second. Alpha 3.20. What's the progress with that patch? And then a little tiny bit about Starfield. Don't worry, I'm not going to bang on about Starfield too much. I know people are here for Star Citizen stuff. If you want to watch Starfield stuff, you want someone that actually has access to Starfield now, or you're playing it yourself. Zin.
Yes.
You may be aware that there were some minor dramas over the last couple of weeks with Cloud Imperium.
Yeah.
So we had, to me, the biggest drama, which is the CitizenCon goodies pack for being $35. I just think that was far too expensive.
Yeah.
But Cloud Imperium are allowed to charge what they want for this sort of stuff. People certainly don't need to buy it. It's there to help support CitizenCon and the stream for CitizenCon, so that you don't need to spend any development money, I suppose, for it.
To be fair, it does seem to be the going rate for cosmetic items.
What, if you break them, all of them down?
Well,
and
kind
then
of.
put them
But
as a pack?
so I think you mentioned about, like, or was it DC? Mentioned about, like, Overwatch skins for that sort of thing.
It was DC. He was educating me on the expense of Overwatch 2 skins.
Yeah.
And going, look, everyone's doing it. And I was like, that doesn't make it great.
Doesn't make it
$35
right, yeah.
is the price of a game. Like, and one of the best games of 2023, Dave the Diver, that's significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
Half that price, I think.
Yeah, I think I picked it up for £15 in the sale.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much reduced.
Yeah, indeed. It just feels a bit too much. But I think I'm sort of flogging a dead horse there. I think it's too much. You support it if you want. It's not the end of the world. It's not pay to win or anything. It's pay for cosmetics and cosmetic items. Cool. Charge what you want for them. I just think that if you want people to get involved with CitizenCon stuff, you charge $10 and then loads of people would buy it, right?
Yeah.
It's just it feels exclusive because of the price. And then there was the CIG dev getting laid off that was on LinkedIn, and then that had implied that there were wider layoffs at CIG, because he said a wave of layoffs. He was caught in a wave of layoffs, or the most recent layoffs, and then someone said, not you too, that had previously worked at CIG, and people had taken that information and made very, very, very sensationalist headlines and pushed in it like narratives of like, there's huge layoffs at CIG, blah, 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 like that. So there was that. That was largely debunked, with it just being a single person that appeared to have been laid off at that time. And Cloud Imperium even said, no, there's not layoffs. We then had a different ex-CIG employee posting in Reddit, something has to change. Have you read this post?
Yes, I have.
So he was basically saying there was loads of money spent on the UK studio. He felt that investment on art and fittings and stuff was ridiculous. It was like people's wages. They had frozen hiring and were concerned with lots of spending. So this is all his opinion, and that players would sort of need to give CIG more and more money to continue the game, but also that they should vote with their wallets and not give them money, otherwise the game won't get made. That's sort of what he was saying, right?
Kind of, yeah.
And I thought that was very anecdotal, and it was suggested later that maybe they were laid off because they wouldn't relocate. Basically, all the stuff they said wasn't anything to do with game development, and I totally disagreed with most of the points that the guy was making, because I think they should be investing in the CIG studio. He was like, this art's really expensive. It's like, well, their art's going to be spaceships and stuff that they make. Like, they're canvassing and stuff around the wall. They're not buying, like, fine art. They've made the art, and then they're putting it on the walls.
The thing is, I think he might be referring more to like that studio area they've built, which looks like a carrack or something like that, you know? Okay,
I suspect that is quite expensive.
And they've got fancy doors and things like that like open like ship doors.
Some of that stuff, I suppose, is quite expensive. Yeah.
So it's expensive. It could be viewed as unnecessary. Like, obviously, it makes a nice backdrop for their recordings, but it isn't necessary. You know?
I feel that this is what happens when you go, we've got lots of money and we have to spend it mostly on the development of the game. They're not leeching it out all to investors or giving Chris a golden parachute or anything. Although obviously, I suspect Chris is paid a big amount of money and the higher ups are almost certainly getting a lot of wage. But I do think that if they're spending most of the money on the game, a lot of it's going to be invested in studios and cool stuff like that makes their devs and their company look better. Improves hopefully the productivity of the devs there because they've got a better environment to do game development and to do art and stuff. Do you think that's actually a thing? Do you think that nice looking studio, better looking studio is going to improve the development from the devs?
In a way, yes. I think if you work in a nice environment, like not necessarily like sterile sort of office space, you're probably going to be more creative. You're probably going to feel more relaxed and you'll probably put out better work.
That's what it is. It allows creatives to be more creative.
Yeah.
And it's nice to want to work there. If they're trying to attract talent, then they need to, and keep it, they're going to need to do it as much as they can because they want a lot of devs to fill that building. There was a lot of those sort of minor dramas. Is it fair to say that they were all pretty minor dramas? There's nothing major there, was there?
I mean, it's interesting information and it's good to know, even if it is unnecessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say that they were excessive dramas or anything like that.
I like to say that maybe that should be our tagline, making the unnecessary necessary. And as long as people don't think about it too much. I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I want people to go, oh, that sounds good. But don't think about it too much because then it falls apart. So I've talked about this in a separate video, but that dude that had inadvertently started the layoff rumours with his LinkedIn post, he's got a new job soon.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's got a new job? Where do you think he's working and what he's working on?
I don't know. I didn't really know what he did before. So
previously at CIG, he had been a QA and then went into game development. So he sort of did some QA stuff and moved between some QA teams, different types of QA teams, and then moved into game design.
Okay.
So you'll be happy to know that he's now working on Star Citizen with CIG. So he negotiated a new position with them as a senior live QA, so a significantly more senior QA job. And because he's done QA for them before, I think that he's going to be a relatively good fit, seeing they've worked with him for years.
So do you think maybe they just sort of closed the position that he was working in and therefore laid him off?
I think that they are moving certain roles to certain studios and to certain areas. I think they are tightening up. I think they'd closed that role there. They'd gone, it's either unnecessary or we're moving teams in certain areas or whatever. It was an efficiency thing, and they went, unfortunately, we no longer need this particular game design position, at least in this studio. And I think that he saw another position there and negotiated another job there. They obviously didn't want to get rid of him, so he's now working at CIG after leaving CIG. That's going to look interesting on his CV.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a cute ending to that story, which was he's back at CIG. Unfortunately, on his LinkedIn post, he was only polite and kind to CIG. He wasn't whining. He wasn't pissy with him or anything. He went, oh, I loved my time there, but I am looking for a new job.
To be fair, of all the people that I've heard about having left CIG or even like being laid off from CIG, none of them have ever really had a bad thing to say.
I know, and I've actively looked and interviewed people that have. Some of them have come to me. Some of them I've talked to separately. Even was it John Pritchett who did the original flight model for Star Citizen? 99% sure. So I talked to him at length, but even he wasn't too salty at CIG. And interestingly, with John, there was a load of fake Glassdoor posts after people had realised he had left, pretending to be him and pretending to really have a go at CIG. But there was multiples pretending to be him on it, which why people went, what? This is weird. And he went, oh, that's not me. Well, because there's a contingent of people which literally want to watch CIG and Star Citizen burn and just aggravate Star Citizen players and go on the forums and just go, lol, look, I told you it was terrible there. Like, that's it. They just want to watch. They're trolls that want to watch the world burn. That's why they do it. I mean, why do people do anything like that? Why do people troll in general? Because they get a reaction from people. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of the people that have left CIG that I've talked to only have good stuff to say about CIG. You'd work for CIG if you could, if they gave you enough money, wouldn't you?
Oh hell yeah! If I could do the job, and
I don't want you to be quite so happy to jump ship. Go, hell yeah, yeah.
Well, I know about all the stuff that they have, and like that I would love to work there.
It's nice to know that loyalty means a lot to you, Zin.
I mean, you don't give me all the stuff that they have, so
that is true. That is true.
Where's my fridge of drinks?
You've got one in your kitchen. You could go down. Oh my god.
Yeah, but I have to stock it myself.
That is true. I will send you 100 line bars to help stock it.
Thanks, mate.
No worries, mate. And for people that don't know, that has happened before. Nice. Some CitizenCon rumours. Let's move on. A while ago, a few weeks ago now, there was a Shanghai bar citizen, and some leaks came out of there. I say leaks, it was Chris Roberts and Sandy Roberts literally zooming in, conference calling in, and saying some stuff, and there's been some other rumours from that event and some other stuff recently. So we know that CitizenCon's going to be 4.0 focused. We sort of expected that, largely. Do you think that Cloud Imperium can get away with another 4.0 focused CitizenCon, and like this time they have to get Pyro out? Or do you think it's just showing off cool new stuff so it doesn't matter?
I'm wondering if maybe they jumped the gun a little bit last year.
Yeah, they jumped the gun. What about the year before when they also talked about Pyro? What about the year before that?
That wasn't the road to 4.0, was it?
No, it was the journey. It was the journey to Pyro or something. Like, they've called it lots of stuff by different names since 2019 with Pyro and stuff, and we've been constantly expecting it. Potentially, that's been slightly overhyped by content creators myself, and the expectations that Cloud Imperium will be getting it out at the end of 2020, 2021, 2022, and now 2023. Because, Sin, the rumours are that Pyro, server meshing, and jump points will all be out in a patch by the end of this year. That's what it looks like. No 3.21, a 4.0 patch.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, that is been heavily suggested by Chris, and that's what the rumours were anyway. So, do you think that is a strong possibility, or do you think Cloud Imperium might have the best intentions in the world, but inevitably won't get it out by the end of the year?
I think it'll be Ivocati, if anything.
Yeah, okay, that's still a patch in people's hands. I hope it will be wider than Ivocati so that we can talk about it, because that would be the most annoying thing, is if they release 4.0 to Ivocati only and I can't talk about it. Oh, that would annoy me. Then it's a load of other content creators getting content up on it that I can't produce. Oh.
Thing is, if they're going to have it out by the end of the year, it needs to be not buggy. Like, not disastrously buggy. Saying it's not buggy is a stupid thing.
It needs to be somewhat playable.
Yeah.
It needs to be less buggy or equally as buggy as it currently is.
Yeah. We can't have... It can't have a repeat of other instances where they've left for the end of year break and it's just been...
I mean, even the beginning of this year's a good example of it. 3.18 was hugely broken. The first four plus months of this year, Star Citizen was not particularly playable. If the game is literally unlaunchable, constantly crashing, as well as all the alpha bugs, then it feels like we're just going backwards. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that, in that it needs to be in a state of being playable. And server meshing, is that going to be as bad as persistent entity streaming was? Maybe persistent entity streaming was the last of the major gigabugs that we'll have.
No more standing on chairs.
No more standing on chairs. Although I did see in hashtag Starfield lots of NPCs standing on chairs and tables. So it's like, you stole that from Star Citizen, didn't you? So something else that is rumoured, and this is a little more reading between the lines, it's basically at that Bar Citizen, Chris went, we've got some major announcements, and after that we'll be touring again for like Bar Citizens and doing major events in places, because that's what will be necessary sort of next year after October 10th, which would be CitizenCon next year. The implication there is that it looks like Squadron 42's release will be next year, episode 1 anyway. Now, that is largely reading between the lines, and people might be like, that's not what they meant, but I'm pretty sure it is. Now, do you think that's a strong possibility? Do you think that's impossible? What do you think, Sin?
Well, if what people have been saying is true, which is a lot of the staff, the developers of Star Citizen have been moved on to focusing on Squadron 42.
To get it out the door, yeah.
Then I'd hope it should be next year.
Okay, And we can see from the roadmap and stuff that a lot of stuff for Squadron 42 is actually being completed now.
Mm-hmm.
That last 5% of development can take a long time to polish, and they want a polished product. When they release it, it is not an alpha release. It is this is version 1, and this is competing in a market, will then rate it very aggressively. People are going to be really, really, really hot on Star Citizen with their reviews. It's not going to have garnered as much love as Starfield has with 100 out of 100 scores. It's going to be like, this isn't working particularly well. 70% because one of the NPCs looked at me weirdly. I think it's very possible that Squadron 42 could be released at the end of next year. I mean, I've said that for several years now, that it would be released at the end of the year. Do you think Squadron 42 also needs to be released soon?
Yes.
Because, yeah, okay.
I think it's been hanging around for too long.
Yeah. Cloud Imperium need to prove that they can actually make a game. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you. It needs to be released relatively soon. End of next year, I think it's fine. I mean, if it goes on much beyond that, it's pushing it. Because Cloud Imperium just can't keep on doing development as a service. They do need to go, look, this is a product. But once they release Squadron 42, as long as it's in 9 out of 10 territory, people will then afford them as much time and money as they want. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Only
time will tell whether or not we have 4.0 in our hands by the end of this year and Squadron 42 Episode 1 in our hands by the end of next. Ship Showdown's in.
Yeah.
We've got the top 4 ships, pretty much.
And it's not got the Terrapin in it.
It's not got the Terrapin in it, which annoyed some people, even though it annoyed me that the Terrapin had beaten, the Mercury Star Runner? Was it, or the Carrack?
It was the Carrack, I believe.
Yeah. So we got, in the top 4, we've got the Redeemer, the Vulture, and the Corsair. I think all reasonable choices.
Very good ships. Yeah,
all very good ships. Very cool looking ships. Very got good rolls. Now, the last fight currently for the last of the top 4 is against the 600i Explorer versus the Cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like the 600i, but it is getting entirely reworked. So it feels a bit weird.
Maybe people are basing it on the the proposed upgrade, the new 600i.
Which is just a weird choice to have it in the Ship Showdown then.
Well, it's not. That's the thing, is it's not CIG's choice, is it? Really, it's down to the users, the players, voting for it and making posts about it. Is that not how it works?
Yeah, that's fair. That is literally how it works. It is popularity contest. It just has to be flyable, and technically it's flyable, even though they are reworking it. So yeah, fair point. So who do you think is going to win out of the Cutter versus the 600i? I mean, we could just look at the current numbers.
I'm looking at the current numbers. Currently, the 600i is winning.
Which seems weird to me, because I thought not many people would have had it, and I would have thought people... Because I really like the Cutter as a starter ship.
Yeah.
How close is it?
Pretty close, considering there's only 5 hours left.
Okay.
There is, 300 and...
50-ish votes,
50-ish in it, yeah.
Okay, I could go either way. Obviously, it's looking more in the 600i's favour. I am not going to overly influence people one way or another, because I don't like the idea of brigading for silly contests like this.
To be fair, I think... Wait, who's it going up against? The Corsair.
So it'll be
I have
the
a
Corsair
feeling
versus
that
the winner.
Regardless of who wins this, they're going to be knocked out in the next round.
Okay. Do you think the Corsair is going to be the winner of the Ship Showdown?
I kind of hope the Vulture will.
Vulture is a good choice as well. I mean, it's new, it's cool for salvage. I like it.
We've waited so long to be able to get it in game.
And it's funny that it's still not available to purchase in game. It will be with 3.20.
Isn't it been half a year, maybe nearly a year?
It's been more than 3 months, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know.
Which is typically the amount of time that they will wait before putting it in game, the exclusivity period. So I am looking forward to that being in game. I do think the Corsair and Vulture have very high chances of winning. Let's be interesting to see what's going on with that. And remember, the top 4 ships, they all get flair and skins and stuff made for them that will appear at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. There is a free fly going on now with the top 8 ships. There's loads of stuff to get involved with Star Citizen. I just wish that it was 3.20 live to be able to play with those ships and with new people.
Yeah.
With the free fly. But and talking about that, 3.20's progress, it's going pretty well. So a lot of people were having crashed desktops and stuff like that with it, apparently.
Okay.
That seems to have largely been fixed from what I can tell. I haven't had those problems, but I know a few of my friends have.
No, I haven't either.
But 3.20 fixes tons of exploits and lots of other long-standing bugs. Obviously adds a load of Arena Commander stuff and a load more cargo stuff and the Hull C and some new missions and stuff. I'm really looking forward to it, but it is mainly that Arena Commander stuff that's going to make that patch sort of shine, and experimental modes with that. And the testing of master modes. So master modes, when we last talked about them, they were broken in the fact that they didn't have ability to aim. But now that's fixed. So Zin and I will be playing some maybe Infinite Wave Vandal Swarm. That's horrible. they just kept on spawning, Zin. They wouldn't stop spawning. But new master modes and the way that the ships fly, I really like. It feels a bit slower, but it means that you can get closer to the ships. You can see the cool fights of the ships. That's what I want. I want to see the coolness. I want it to go, oh, this game is pretty. I don't want it just to be like, well, I might as well just play on HUD Simulator. We'll be testing that out soon, and you'll hear our opinions on that. Should go to more waves, potentially later today, but later this week should open up a lot more. Are you thinking that 3.20 will successfully launch to live by the end of the month, Sin? Or even earlier?
I'm kind of hoping it'll come out before CitizenCon.
I agree. I think that if they try and release it at the same time or anything, that's just too much going on. Lots of problems could occur, especially when they're trying to have this 2v2 dogfighting tournament at CitizenCon. I think they're going to want to make sure that 3.20 is working suitably for that. Because can you imagine something weird happening or a crash happening during that? That would not be great.
Well, no, it wouldn't be, but it would be standard.
Be very Star Citizen. Yeah. Very Star Citizen. Do you think there's going to be a wipe for 3.20? I suppose that's a question we get asked loads.
They've not said there will be yet, have they? No,
they've not. And I don't think they need one. For me, it looks unlikely they'll wipe, but they'll wipe if they need to. Zin, Starfield.
Yes.
It's out with the critics. It's out for the early access people that bought the expensive edition. Expensive. And in a couple of days, it will be out to Xbox Game Pass and the wider release.
Yeah.
So, 100% perfect scores, Sin. 100% perfect scores from some outlets. The best game ever, bar none. There cannot be a better game. They've never reviewed a better game, except I did notice that a lot of these outlets had reviewed several other games at 100.
Oh, obviously their standard for a good game is quite low.
Or maybe the games before were the best game until this one. So I'd say that Half-Life 2 is one of the few games I'd give close to 100% score. I'd give it like 98 or something ridiculous. I'd give it particularly high. 10 out of 10 scores, 100 score, that's ridiculous. If you cannot find anything wrong or to be critical about in a game, you're not doing your job properly. Yeah? That's what I'd say. If there's no way it's the perfect game, because there's going to be loads of stuff that you'll be like, oh, I wish I had this, or I wish I had this, or it doesn't do this. Now, there were some scores from outlets that gave it 70 to 85, sort of around that, and they had criticisms of the game, basically saying it's like Fallout or Skyrim in space, yeah, and that they thought it was good, but they didn't love it. Its writing wasn't that great. It was like a Mass Effect, but not as great writing. That was a veneer or a skin of a space game on these sort of projects that work with Fallout or whatever. They're proven to be working, but it is just a skin that connects them. So you're sort of traveling in space, you're having a bit of space combat, but basically you're just choosing locations to go to, and then you're going along these planets. And these planets, they're not hugely explorable or anything. They basically procedurally generate a section of the planet which has boundaries that you go to, and every so often will change, or it can remember a certain amount of procedural generated sections or something like that. It will have these prefabs and these points of interest which don't change. They'd be plopped in for story or whatever. But it appears to be a really good game. It just wasn't the best game ever, bar none. Have you read any of the reviews? Have you seen much about Starfield?
No, not really. I'm just waiting for it to release and then I'll try it myself.
Yeah, so once it goes out to the sort of Game Pass release, because it's effectively free. Best value proposition I've seen for a game on Game Pass is put Starfield on there. Awesome. I've already got a subscription. I get the game for free. I can play it.
Yeah.
Really, really looking forward to that. For me as well, best games of 2023 so far, Dave the Diver and Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, Dave the Diver's got to be high up there for you as well, isn't it, right?
Yeah. Dave the Diver was a really great game. I enjoyed every single moment of playing that. I don't think there was ever a point where I was like, oh no, I don't really fancy playing this anymore. Yeah,
Zin chained that game to the rest of us, so it's gone through a load of our other friends or whatever, and eventually got to me and her mate Kit, who were playing it recently, and we were like, the Dave the Diver was really good, and she said, oh yeah, I got everyone to play that. So okay, cool. It's absolutely fantastic game. And Baldur's Gate 3, really, really great fun. I thought it was awesome. I wouldn't give either of those games 100% either. Although Dave the Diver gets pretty close. It was genuinely great. I haven't played Starfield yet myself. I've only seen the reviews. But from what I can tell, yeah, realistically, it looks like I'm hoping 8.5, 85 out of 100 sort of thing. Because I love Skyrim, I love Fallout, and the idea of having some more refined mechanics and some ship combat and something that is adjacent-ish to Star Citizen, even if it's just a skin, it does appeal to me. But I think that people that want to do exploration, they're not going to be as interested when they realise that exploration, there's a huge amount of planets which are pretty much just empty other than some resources, and the ones that they might want to explore, they can't explore to their heart's content. You are just sort of choosing a location to go to on a planet, boop, and it's generating a procedural zone. It's not Star Citizen is what I'm telling you. Star Citizen, very different game, and multiplayer, and not really released yet. It's in alpha. Not sure if you're aware that Star Citizen's in alpha. Also, I'm not a fan, I'm not sure if you've seen many of the reviews or anything, I'm not a fan of bullet sponge enemies.
Yeah, I'm of the belief that if you shoot something in the head, maybe 1 or 2 bullets, but they should go down like fairly quickly if you headshot.
Snipper rifle in the head for most things should be dead. I totally agree with that. What I am excited for Starfield, and I think that Star Citizen may struggle with, even though it's supposed to have this, is modding and modding support. I think we're going to see a ton of cool mods for Starfield, allowing them, the community to build on it a lot. Hopefully that won't be charged for. I know that they have previously, Bethesda, have done some weird charging of mods, even if they were community mods, through Bethesda stores and stuff like that. So hopefully that's not going to be happening here. Also, I'm looking forward to user reviews, because that is what I want to see from Starfield, not critic reviews, because games journalism has severely changed from people being critical, in my opinion. I want people to find the problems in games, tell me what they love about the games, and then give fair reviews. At the moment, it feels like outlets want to give 100% scores so that they have friendlier sort of relations with studios, or they want to appeal. So someone might give it like 2 out of 10 because they want to get the clicks, or 10 out of 10 because they want the clicks. That's the sort of feeling I get. You're going to be playing Starfield, you said, Zin?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay, we're probably not going to include much, if any, Starfield content on the channel. We might record some for subs and Patreons and stuff like that, and we'll play it, and I'm looking forward to playing it, and maybe talk about it a little bit, because it's Star Citizen adjacent. It's got the word star in it. A lot of people compared it to Star Citizen. The comparison between Star Citizen and Starfield is because it is a space game. It has some of the same stuff that Star Citizen wanted to go for, and it does that in a very different way. It's not a multiplayer game. Huge amounts of differences. Not really fair to compare them. But as people are comparing them, we'll occasionally talk about it a little bit. But you don't have to dislike either of those games. You can play both, weirdly. Anyway, that's really it for the podcast today. So thanks for watching. I'm really interested to know if you are looking forward to CitizenCon this year. Do you think we'll have Alpha 4.0 in our hands by the end of the year? Do you think we'll have Squadron 42 by the end of next? Who do you think is going to win the ship showdown? Alpha 3.20, do you think we're going to have that by the end of the month? Are you looking forward to playing with master modes? Starfield, you're going to be playing that? Going to be giving it a go? Have you just had too much about Starfield? Stop talking about Starfield. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. As I said, and Zin, you can say goodbye.
Goodbye, Zin.
Ha! I got you, because I didn't say goodbye, Zin.
No, but you said I could say goodbye.
I did. Oh, I see. You did.
Goodbye.
Perfect. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Take care. Peace. For those of you that are keeping your eyes peeled, you will have noticed that the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 is on sale again until the 8th of September. They are natively supported in Star Citizen, giving you precision, head and eye tracking that can help with immersion, as well as adding another level of control to your toolset. It's a cool piece of tech that you can use for streaming and seeing where your eyes are going, and loads of other games are supported too. Check out my links below to get one of those at discount. NordVPN is amazing and you should buy it. It's so useful, it's easier to tell you what it can't do. NordVPN can't do your taxes. Nord, how much do I owe for VAT? NordVPN can't help you buy more spaceships. Nord, add a terrapin to my shopping cart. NordVPN can't cook for you. No, my cabbages! And NordVPN can't be your girlfriend. Can't or won't NordVPN, if that is your real name. NordVPN.com/BoredGamer will help you connect to the internet more safely, securely, and anonymously, with greater access to the content you want. But can I teach it to love? Links below for the best NordVPN deals around. Every month we have a ship giveaway, and for September, that's for the Drake Corsair, that fantastic exploration ship. Not only will you be able to explore the verse with it, but the ship is perfectly competent at a huge range of gameplay and is a fantastic mission running ship. You can use it for cargo, you can put some vehicles in there. It's reasonably good in a fight, one of the true multi-role, multi-crew ships. To be in for a chance of winning one of those, just comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details down below. Also down below are links to be able to support the channel more. There's the join button, making you one of my elite channel members. You'll get occasional exclusive content. There's also YouTube badges and emotes to show your support. There's also Patreon for those of you that prefer that. We try to mirror the rewards on there as well. But just people liking, subscribing and sharing these videos goes a long way. A heartfelt thank you to everyone that watched the video. I hope you have a great September and I'll see you in the verse.